then it takes away from who they really are to try to be someone else, and then they could never really find their true self because the whole time they're trying to act like somebody that they not. So it's like kind of weird because it's like they could never really find themselves in a world full of frauds, or if they're the fraud too. Like they'll just always be like the outcast, and they'll never really be like, I don't know. And then I think, and then with ADHD, like it's people who have ADHD, and like I just didn't want to give like what I seen, and then I attached it to the wrong mental the mental, what is it called?
The mental disorder. Yes.
Yeah, mental disorder. So like they'll like move around a lot, and they'll like talk a lot and be like loud and be like overly productive. And some people have found it like they'll think that it's like obnoxious and stuff like that. But it's like you don't really know, like those are people who don't really understand like the mental illnesses and stuff like that. And then they'll just see that they being obnoxious or they being annoying, and they not really being like empathetic to them and like putting themselves in their shoes and like trying to see why they doing that stuff and why they act that way, you know. So it's like, that's why I feel like it's important for people to know, because then you can make them feel some type of way about something that they have no control over. Like there's nothing that they can do to like sitting down for them may be like uncomfortable. Like this time, sometimes I feel like I don't want to sit down. Like I want to get up and start moving because I just don't want to sit here. So like they don't put themselves in other people's shoes and be like, oh, this is why they acting like that. They just resort to like the negativity of a situation and then like act based on like assumptions, and they don't really know what that person is going through.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah. So do you believe that mental health affects college students more or high school students?
Oh, I don't know, because I'm honestly in between because high school students go through peer pressure, and I feel like once you get out the peer pressure, you kind of A-okay in college, but college students go through the anxiety part, you know, tests, papers, always having to be on your A game, especially African American and Latinx students. You know, we go to college on little to nothing. Either it's a scholarship and anxiety on having to keep that scholarship so we can stay in school, because we come from areas where our parents aren't able to sign $18,000 a year. So we have those anxieties, but then, you know, there's high school and you have those peer pressure anxieties where if, you know, like certain boys, it's not cool to be, in a sense, a virgin, and you get made fun of that. So it's that peer pressure anxiety that can make or break a person's personality. So it's like, I would say it's like a ladder. Once you get over high school and you know how to navigate people's personalities, because high school is where you get thrown in and learning how to navigate people's personalities, and they're developing while you're developing at the same time. So once that happens, once you get over that hump, I always tell people, you know, it's like the saying, this too shall pass. You know, so once you get over that hump, I think you know how to navigate personalities, and then you'll be able to better function on navigating workload anxiety. So I would say it's a 50-50 because they're right after each other. And then expectations on if you're going to school, what college, because we all parents are, what school you're going to? And if you're not going to college, because in the Black community, if you're not going to college, you know, you got to do something. So it's like you're being thrown out to the wolves and at the same time celebrating, because then there's prom and there's graduation. So it's like, it's it's very up and down. It's very up and down when college is like, you know, December and May, you got finals. You know, you got to take a paper. The papers be 10-page paper. It's out for the whole you got the whole semester to do it. You know, it's just depending on if you, you like right now I had a 10-page paper, it's not due until the 15th. And I had it since January. So it's like you have that time, but in a sense, since especially being a freshman, you're not used to that time. So you like, oh, January to May, I got all day. And then April the 1st, April the 28th hit, and you like, no, I don't. You didn't do nothing that you were supposed to. So then that anxiety kick in, because you're not used to having that. You're not used to this being a make or break situation, because in high school you didn't have to pay for high school, so you didn't see you don't see the money value into it. College is when you see the money value into it, and now you're stressing out about that.
You gotta be serious about it.
So it's both. It's both.
So what is a big myth that people have about their mental health?
that they don't need to talk to a therapist. That is like the most craziest thing where I listen to people and they say, I don't need to talk to nobody. And I'll be like, well, your mom just died. You sure you don't need to talk to nobody? No. I'll just do this and do this. And I'll be like, no, that's you just trying to keep going. Yeah, you're oppressing yourself. So it's like people are afraid, and this is everybody, all shades, all sizes. They are afraid to talk and get help. And a lot of people don't know that is the first start of working on your mental stability, because if you can sit there and identify like, well, I need help, I'm cracking at the seams, then you already started to be a better person.
Yeah. So what can teens do to improve mental health?
Not be afraid. I watch a lot of teens with beautiful minds be afraid to share it.
Yeah.
And that causes doubt, and doubt causes mental effects. When you're afraid to be yourself, you could potentially mask it with a personality disorder where you prefer to be somebody else than yourself. And a lot of teens develop that, where a lot of teens get diagnosed in high school and college with personality disorder, because in high school their personality wasn't good enough. So I have to come up with this extravagant lie to make me feel better about who I am, instead of just being freely about who you are, and realizing that protecting my energy is more important than being liked.
Yeah. I see that a lot, like with people like trying to act a certain way to get like social validation from everybody, so like they can never like be who they like really are and stuff like that. And then it causes them to have like what's it called, like an identity crisis. And then they start breaking down because it's like they start to feel bad about trying to be somebody that they not, and stuff like that. And then it put them into like a real deep state of like depression and stuff. And yeah, that is really sad. So according to World Health Organizations, 1 in 7 of the world adolescents have a mental disorder. Why do you believe that is?
I believe it's because I don't want to say back in the day because I sound old. So I would say when I was younger, we had teen outlets. We had the Boys and Girls Club, even though the Boys and Girls Club is still around, but it's not as prominent as it is. Like, even when we used to be, like, our park districts used to be just as much as like the Boys and Girls Club, and it was so many things to just release from. You know, teens don't even have, even when it come down to clothes, teenagers don't even have a junior section no more. It's nothing catered to the teen of a teen's mental mind no more. Like when I was younger, we had Disney Channel with That's So Raven on there and Lizzie McGuire, where we were able to see certain everyday teen pressures and be like, okay, Raven dealt with it like this, or Lizzie McGuire dealt with it like this, or any TV show, or just down to music videos with, I'm probably taking it real back, like B5 and just all of those. We had those teen outlets, or when we were able to look on TV, we were able to see ourselves, and that was more comfortable. You know, looking at a Keke Palmer with the same Afrocentric features and the micro braids, that was comforting to me, because it was like, okay, well, I want to go get me a micro braids too. Or Raven and her twisties and stuff, her twisties and her outfits, her colorful outfits. It was like, okay, you know, I'm not crazy. You know, I'm just a regular girl, and I realized that no teen has that type of outlet. You guys don't have that where you could, like how we used to rush home to watch 106 in Park. You guys don't have nothing to look forward to rush home to and gather around with your friends and talk about. You know, we used to talk about TRL with our friends the next day, and you wasn't cool if you couldn't see this, you know? So it's you guys don't have that outlet. And I just really wish us adults can do more work for our future presidents and our future leaders, because if we don't give you guys the outlet to take that pressure off and have that outlet for you guys to talk, we will continuously see the destruction in the adolescents. Because what happens when you oppress somebody? They become out of control. And it's like now they won't listen.
Because they feel like you did them wrong for so long that they don't owe you nothing.
Yeah, it's just like African Americans in poverty. If you like the Watts riots in the 60s, that boiled over based off of the mental anguish and the oppression of not having an outlet or not feeling like people. And it's just like the riot with George Floyd. That was a big thing because that was the cry of the youth saying, we need help. And it's been how many years later and they're still having that cry. In a minute, we're not going to be able to cease that fire. Yeah. It's going to boil over, and the adults and the elders, we're not going to know nothing to do because we're losing respect every single day with our youth.
That's true.
And that means we're losing power in a sense.
And then it's like the shows that we have now that we talk about, they not as like, I would say like they not as refreshing as the shows were back then, like That's So Raven, Lizzie McGuire and stuff like that. Like those were like kid shows and they were actually entertainment. Now it's like we don't watch Disney Channel. Like that's not teenager to watch Disney Channel. That's like kid, like 11, 10. Like they watch Disney Channel. Like 13 to like 18. It's not normal for like a teenager to watch Disney Channel. Or if they do, they'd be like considered lame or whatever because the shows aren't like as interesting. We watch stuff like this generation, they watch stuff like reality shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's more like toxic,
Yeah. So you're the youth. So what do you think like mental? What we could do for the adolescents since you're the voice of them?
Yeah. Like I just
no
feel
pressure.
Like we should like have more like programming and stuff that like we can look forward to, more things to do so that we won't result in other things to make us happy, give us like a safe place to like talk about how we feel and stuff like that. And I think that's all we have time for. So if someone is watching and is in need of immediate intervention or your support, how can they reach you?
We can reach us at Fathers Who Care, phone number 773-287-5821. I am Jasmine Walker. I'm the program coordinator and the mentor and one of the mentors at Fathers Who Care. And I'm one of those people who care.
Okay. So if you are just tuning in, our guest tonight on the show is Jasmine Walker, and we are discussing understanding mental health and how it affects youth. We would like to thank our viewers for watching. For additional information about our youth council, please contact us at 773-287-5821 and ask for Miss Princess. Thank you, and tune in next week, same time, same station.